Hi, my name is Ashton and welcome back to Ashton's EDC. In today's video, this is going to be part 5 of my folding knife collection series. And in today's video, I'm going to be focusing on the knives that I have from Cold Steel. So I have 3 different models from Cold Steel. This is just talking about folding knives. At one point, I'm going to get into my fixed blade knife collection as well, but for now I just want to focus on the folding knives that I have. So I'll just get right to it. I'll turn the camera down towards the table and we'll take a look at these 3 knives in my collection from Cold Steel. Alright, so here we are taking a look at these 3 knives in my collection from Cold Steel. So to start off, I'll move these 2 to the side and we'll take a look at this one. This is the Cold Steel Buun. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I believe it is a kind of Japanese design. You can see there the name of the knife. It does have this really nice tanto blade shape. The handle here is, I believe, kind of Securex or Grivex from Cold Steel. The gray parts here is kind of a hard plastic, but then the black part here is a little bit has a bit of a rubbery texture, so you can get a really good grip on that. Taking a look on the other side of the blade, Cold Steel. The blade steel here is 4034 stainless steel, and this one is made in Taiwan. So the steel, nothing fancy, but it is just fine. This has a liner lock mechanism there, as you can see. Kind of interesting because if you look at it from this direction, it does look to be flush, but hopefully you can see right here, there is kind of a little divot in the opposite liner to fit your thumb into in order to disengage that liner lock. It does have a flipper there. The action on this is really incredible. Flips, no problem every time. And even the closing is really, really smooth. So typically if I, press the liner, push the blade a little bit until it kind of comes into contact with that, the ball detent, and then I can just kind of flick it closed from there. The action is really great. Now another interesting thing on this knife, you can see here, there is this little kind of switch. And so this is what Cold Steel calls their leaf spring, lock, and safety. So when the blade is deployed, the liner lock there is, holding the blade open. If you want for additional security, you can push this switch here, and that will make it, hopefully I can show this on camera. So right there is that little tab. And if I were to switch this back, then that will move down. What that little tab does is it prevents the liner from closing. So if you try and push on the liner, it won't close. And so it just gives you some extra security while using this knife. If there were ever a situation where you might be afraid of the liner disengaging or something like that, if you just want a bit of extra security, you can engage this switch, and that will essentially prevent the liner from closing, and then just switch it back and then you can disengage the liner as normal. So that's the Cold Steel Buun, really great knife. Let's take a look at the size here. The blade length looks like about 3¼ inches. That's not necessarily the cutting edge, that's just from the tip here to where it kind of ends at the ricasso. Overall, looks like it's about 8¼ inches. Really great knife from Cold Steel. This one is made in their Taiwan factory, but seems like it's very great quality. Didn't really mention the pocket clip here. Definitely not a deep carry pocket clip. It's pretty wide. It does leave quite a bit to be sticking out of your pocket. There's a lanyard hole there if you wanted to attach a lanyard. I don't mind the pocket clip. It is definitely a little bit wide, and I do wish it was a bit more deep carry. As you can see, quite a bit will still stick out of your pocket. but the pocket clip works just fine. Next up, we have the Mini Recon 1. This is definitely one of their more popular knives, I would say, in Cold Steel's lineup. The Recon 1, obviously the full-size version, might even be considered one of the almost flagship models from Cold Steel. This was the first Cold Steel knife that I purchased, and this one is really great. Has that thumb stud deployment there with a really secure snap into that triad lock. I'll kind of just show that again to hear that really secure click. Locks into place. The triad lock, kind of in this back lock design. One of the strongest locks, I believe, in existence. I haven't really done any testing on myself, but you know, you can see videos of people testing the triad lock and hammering away on these blades, and they don't fail. So really strong lock. This one is also in that kind of in that Tanto blade shape. The steel on this is AUS 10A, which is really great. Really great blade material, especially for the price. I paid about $80 for this, I think. And so AUS 10A is really good steel. This one's also made in Taiwan, as you can see there. The handle kind of feels like a G10, but I think it's just a glass reinforced nylon. Has kind of this grooves for your finger, but fits quite well for my hand. Your index finger kind of slots really well into that hole, and your other fingers kind of follow back. There is, I guess, what might be considered a little bit of jimping, but on the scale here, if you want to give a bit of extra grip. Has a nice thumb wrap. This is a great knife for heavy duty use or tasks. It is pretty ambidextrous as well. The thumb stud on the opposite side has this kind of slot head, so you can unscrew it and reverse it. I haven't done that, but it does have this pocket clip which can be reversed as well. As far as the action, you can kind of slow roll it, you know, just with your thumb. And then to disengage the triad lock, typically I'll just go like this, kind of shake it, and then it lands there. So there's, you know, definitely not the safest mode of doing that, but works for me. And then you can kind of do it closed, but you can flick this open as well. Hopefully I can do it on camera. There we go. Definitely has some really good action, really strong with that triad lock. Has a nice pocket clip as well. Definitely not deep carry, quite a bit sticking out, but works pretty well for me. As far as some measurements here, comes in at just a tad under 7 inches, and the blade length comes in at about 2 3/4. Again, not the cutting edge, just from the tip to the little sharpening choil there. So that is the Cold Steel Mini Recon 1. Really great knife from Cold Steel. And then last up, this is the SR1 Lite. Now this is a beast of a knife. This is insanely thick, as you can see, with that back lock or triad lock design there. The blade is also insanely thick. Has thumb studs here. Opens just fine. You can flick this open as well. I can try. Might be a bit hard to keep it on frame. Typically, you need to give it a bit of a wrist. There we go. The blade is massive. So the overall length, almost the entire width of my mat here, comes in at about 9.5 inches. Blade length comes in at about 3 3/4 inches, or so. Now the blade thickness on this is insane. As you can see there, really thick. I'll get my ruler here. This section here comes in at over 1/2 inch, I believe. Hopefully you can see that there. I'm not great when it comes to fractions and inches, but you can see definitely a very, very thick blade. Has this super strong, thick triad lock. Tanto blade shape there as well. Has a really massive pocket clip. Has a lanyard hole there, I guess, if you wanted to put a lanyard. The other thing with this, with the pocket clip, is that it is extremely stiff. So I do have a bit of a hard time getting this if I'm putting this in my pocket. Definitely a bit of a large knife to begin with to put in pocket, but I do have a bit of a hard time with this clip, so I might need to try and bend it a little bit, but it's kind of hard because you don't want to bend it too much where it is sort of floating way above, but works great if you just want to clip this onto your belt. I have done that before. This clips onto my belt just fine, and it does rest pretty secured there. Now the handles is I believe a Securex or a glass reinforced nylon, but it does have some nice, hopefully I can show that on camera, it does have some nice texturing there. As far as the grip, you can get a full, so I can get a full 4-finger grip with room to spare. So if you have extra large hands, this would be a great knife for you. I guess you could choke up there a little bit, but you are right on the blade. But other than that, you have a nice, nice spot for your index finger there, with a little bit of a guard. As far as closing this knife, when I first got this, I tried to close it in the same manner that I do the Recon, the mini Recon 1. So sort of just pressing the back lock, flicking it, and then this sort of part of the blade, which is not the sharp part, would land on my finger. But with this one, the first time I did that, I tried to, but then if you can see, there isn't as much space kind of after the end of the cutting edge there. So the first time I did this, I did kind of nick myself. So you can definitely open this one-handed, but I would recommend to close it two-handed. The lock is extremely strong. It has a really nice click right there, locks into place. Now one other kind of downside, and I'm not sure if this is with the SR1 Lite as the entire model, if this is just on mine, is that the blade, when closed, hopefully I can show this on camera, but it's not seated very deep in there. And so I have nicked myself on here as well, because hopefully I can show that, but the tip of the blade is not very deep. So if you kind of get anything caught in there, or when pulling it out of your pocket, I have nicked myself on there once or twice. So I'm not sure if that's just on my model, or if that's more of an issue with this knife in general. But if you have this knife, let me know if you have that issue, or if this is just something with mine that causes that tip not to be seated very deep. Other than that, on the blade, you can see it has SR1 Lite. Cold steel. The blade steel on here is 8CR14 MOV, also made in Taiwan. Thumb studs they do look symmetrical on both sides, but you could unscrew it there if you wanted to reverse it to the other side. You can reverse the pocket clip as well, which is good for if you're left-handed. Really great knife from Cold Steel, and honestly, for the price, if you need a heavy-duty knife for work or for whatever else, you can't go wrong. I think I picked this up for $70 from my local knife store, and for the amount of steel that you're getting, sure, it's only an 8CR14 MOV, but for the thickness of the blade and the lock, and just the amount of knife that you're getting for that price, you really can't go wrong. So there's the 3 knives in my collection from Cold Steel: the Oya Buun, the Mini Recon 1, and the SR1 Lite. So that's everything for today's video, checking out these 3 knives in my collection from Cold Steel. I will add this to the folding knife collection playlist that I have, so Make sure you check out that playlist if you haven't seen the other parts. This is part 5. There's still several parts to come because I still have quite a few knives that I haven't covered yet. But that's everything for today. If you liked the video, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. And if you like the other videos that I'm making, hit the subscribe button as well. And if you can share this video, that would be great. I'm trying to grow my channel still to reach 500 subscribers. And I'm getting there. So thank you for your support. If you have any of these knives, let me know in the comments down below. And I'm interested to see if you have the SR1 Lite, if you've had this issue with the tip of the knife while the knife is closed. I would love to hear it below. I'd also love to hear what your favorite knife from Cold Steel is, if you have one. And other than that, that is everything. If you have any questions, feel free to ask down below. And that's everything for today. Definitely have some more knife videos coming out soon, so stay tuned. But other than that, thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Take care.